Her name is Catherine on the poster. Kate, please introduce yourself briefly. Tell us who you are, what you do, and where you do it at.
So hi, Elvis, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. And thank you for this opportunity. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my name is Catherine Mbinya Mule. I'm called Kate, mostly because I do other things where people prefer to call me Kate. I don't know where to begin with the introduction, but I think it's just worth noting that I was born and raised in Machakos, grew up in the village, went to school in the village, and went to Machakos Girls High School. I joined the University of Nairobi School of Engineering and graduated in 2013 with a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I have worked in several industries, well, not many, but I started off in the oil industry in a company called Schlumberger as a wireline engineer working in the upstream up until 2014, where I took a break from employment and did business for 1 year. I joined Questworks, a company called Questworks Limited. It's a design engineering procurement firm based in Nairobi. More or less, we can call it a real estate company, where I worked from 2016 to 2019. I started off as a design engineer. Really, my responsibilities were to come up with electrical and by extension mechanical designs for construction projects. But also, I did several audits of performances of building audits before occupancy, just to check whether it's adhering to mechanical and electrical building code. And some of the projects I worked on include Roslyn 5 sensors. I think most people know about Roslyn. It's in Ruaka. I also worked on Strathmore Law School, proposed Kenyatta University hostels, is Highlands Mall in Eldoret, Nairobi West Hospital, the new wing, Equity Afya clinics. I think around that time, in 2016, they were just starting the project of Equity Afya. So I did several designs on that. There was a townhouse in Karen and Havana apartments in Naivasha Road. In 2017, I was kind of promoted, if I can call it that, to a project manager. And I was assigned my first ever construction project in Karen. It was around, the project was around between 110 to 120 million Kenya shillings, with a total built area of about 1,400 square meters. And I managed to oversee the project from beginning to completion. It was completed in 2019. That is the time I left Questworks. So in my profile, it's mentioned that my current company, Pacetech Limited, was incorporated in 2016, which is true. And I know someone may be wondering how I was working with Questworks at the time. So my friend, who is also my partner, began Pacetech in 2016. He's a civil engineer and mostly works on the road sector. When I left Questworks, I sought to also become a shareholder in Pacetech to bring in the construction bit, and that's when I started working with Pacetech. So far, I have managed to oversee 5 construction projects. That's between 2019 to date. Currently, 3 are ongoing. Yeah, and so basically, I provide design work with a team of architect, structural engineer, and a quantity surveyor. So design work and project management. I think I'll stop there. I could go on and on, but I think it's only fair to stop there and get to engage more as time goes by.
Thanks so much, Kate. That's quite impressive what you've managed to do so far. Eric, kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Eric Gitonga. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now where do I start? I know we have time to speak at the end, so I'll just say I'm a registered real estate agent. I wear 3 hats. So let me introduce that hat first. There are 2 more hats that I wear, still in line with real estate and in what I do. I've been in the real estate industry since 2009, and I'm currently on the 9th business. What I'm doing is a 9th business. So I've had business that I've started and failed, and I've had business that never took off at all, and I stuck to real estate. But this is the second company since I joined real estate, but it has morphed into something else, which I'll talk about later. Is there anything else Elvis like me to say about myself? I'm a father of 2 and a wife of
a husband to 1 wife. I think Eric,
sorry.
Eric,
yeah.
Just to give you context, Eric and I are very good friends. We've been neighbors. I've babysat his children, so that's why it seems as though the CV is not that long. But I assure you, his CV is equally as long and quite impressive, and we will learn more as we go along. And since Eric, you've spoken for such a short time, I'd like to start with you, just to give us the basics. What's the real estate space like in Kenya? What we know, there's a lot of talk about wash, all apartments, wash. What should you look at when you're looking at for an apartment? The likes, how you would approach someone who's looking for a new place, either to rent or buy that's already finished.
There's a small echo on your end, but let me see that I got the question right. What are the things to look for when you want to buy or rent property? Is that what you asked?
Yes, it is. Let me sort out the audio.
Okay. Wow, there are many things to look for. I don't know where to start, but where we start our clients is we do something called a needs analysis. Most we call it a criteria sheet in our office, but many people know it as a needs analysis. Think of it as going for grocery shopping without a shopping list. Only that when going to buy property, there are things you need to consider. Emotional needs are also part of the things to consider. So quality of life should be number 1. I've seen property clients move out of their homes closer to the city because they are tired of long commutes. I've seen clients move away from their homes and rent them because they want their kids to be closer to their schools and stop waking up at 5 o'clock, and they're small kids. So their location is very important. Quality of life is very important. And those are the things to look at first before you buy or rent a property. So your checklist, your criteria sheet needs to tick off the things that will give you quality of life. And then you have to work with a budget because the budget now will determine whether Kate will build for you 2.5 times the size of common houses in Karen, because 1,400 square meters is about 2.5 times the size of what you get in Karen, or just take a small house and start off somewhere. So you have to consider where you are in life. For example, most of the people who are buying high-end homes are probably on their second or third. I mean, they've already bought 2 or 3 homes before. So you need to consider where you are at in life and start somewhere. You may want to start with a 2-bed, but with this in mind, the future, that if you're going to get married, kids will come and you'll have to grow out of that 2-bed to a 3-bed. And then you need to consider that one day these kids will leave the nest and the house will become empty. So if you're already in a 5-bed, that house may feel so empty, you may need to shrink back. I've seen clients do that. So there are many things. Probably the best thing would be is during Q&As is to ask a few questions and then I can answer.
Fantastic, and I hope guys are noting that. Kate, what is the initial shopping list like if you want to build or construct a house?
I wouldn't call it a shopping list because it's quite a process, and it's not something you just wake up and decide I want to build a house. First of all, for most people, it's normally a dream. I want to own a dream home. And as we have seen currently in Kenya, people are actually moving towards, owning your own home, apartment, running away from rent seemingly. And as long as this is a dream home, it is something that has to be well thought out. And I don't know if I should let me just talk generally add on to what Eric has said about location. Yeah, because it's very true that some people, you've owned a home and you barely spend time there because you have to leave home very early to beat traffic and come back also a bit late so that you're not caught up in traffic. Thank God for the expressway, at least that may sort the situation a little. But also, personally, if I'm looking for my dream home, I would also look at accessibility, because there are some places where getting there is quite hectic. And I have some projects where it's quite, it's quite hectic getting there, but like maybe the person living there doesn't work in town, so then they're considering other things. But for someone who is working in town and imagining that hectic schedule of having to wake up very early, also when it rains, you do not know if you will, you will come out with your car, you will get to work. So that's something else I would ask someone to consider. Then the other thing, Eric talked about, you may want a 2-bedroom house without thinking about the future, like how many children you will have. So in the same breath, I will say something that some people do not consider, and that is old age. So you find the master bedroom, someone has decided to have a master bedroom maybe on the first floor. So when that age comes and you're not able to go up the stairs, then it becomes something else. So I would also consider if I'm building a mansionette, I would also consider maybe having another bedroom which will act as master bedroom in future on the ground floor. Then security also. I know a couple that moved out of their home and went back to an apartment because security was really a big deal in that area. You couldn't, you cannot get home past 6 because there are people maybe waiting somewhere in the bush to come and attack you. So we have also, I've also now seen people tending to go the gated community way, where it's more secure than just living in a standalone compound. And it's not your fault when you find yourself in a standalone place. It's not your fault. So what I'm seeing people doing is trying to look around the people who have brought similar plots, or a plot that is near yours. You form kind of like a community where you will tackle most of these issues together: security, water, and any other thing that comes up. Yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, that has set the mood. It kind of puts the picture in our heads. But if I'm starting to think about a home, what are some of the basics? there's something you mentioned that I want to bring Eric in on, running away from rent. Eric, is rent such a bad thing? Should all of us own homes?
Can I be very honest with you guys?
Yes.
No, it's not. Because currently, the market has gone down. Okay, so I joined real estate when the market, before the market hit the peak. So 2009, the market wasn't, it was just picking up. And then we saw the peak. I think it hit the top at around 2015, but people didn't notice because guys were still buying expensive properties. Now, rent isn't such a bad thing if you are an investor. If you have an investor's mind, it isn't such a bad thing. Because what you could do, for example, you may want to put, if you want to play it safe, you may decide to put it in treasury bills and bonds, and they give about 9-10%. When rent is giving right now a rental yield of about average 5 to 6%. That's the rental yield. Capital gains on that property may not hit 4%. So you are at the same level with the treasury bills and bonds, only that you don't have a roof over your head, and if you're concerned about the landlord asking you for rent, then you may want to house. But if you're okay, you're a person who wants to be flexible, you may just decide to rent, put your money somewhere that gives you 10% returns, 9%, 9.8% returns, and just compound the money. We forget that you can compound your money. If you know the power of compounding, someone who compounds the money can make quite a lot of money. There are people who make a lot of money from others. Just by investing in places where they have good returns, and they use that money to pay their rent. It's just that there's that sense of, I want a place. I want some serenity. The honest truth is, rent is not such a bad thing. Renting is not such a bad thing.
Fantastic. That really puts up the spanner in the works, because we've seen a lot of debate now about whether people should be making as many plots, converting arable land into plots and such things. Now, back to Kate here on the issue of gated communities and whatnot. We've seen, and I think this is a question I'll ask to both of you, the issue of buying off-plan, or buying a house that's already made. What are some of the reasons one might choose either or, and what are some of the risks involved? We'll start with Kate.
Okay. Buying off-plan is okay. It seems like it's the in thing at the moment, because you can imagine when someone thinks about the process of building. You may have this idea. There's this idea, or I don't know if it's a misconception or just a general feel, but it's a very hectic process, and maybe someone does not want to go through all that, so you prefer to just get something that's already an apartment that's already there, that's already done, that's someone else's headache, and just settle in, which is not so bad, but comes with some risks at the same time, because you do not, okay, when I am building, and I know the kind of standards I'm following, and I know I'm following maybe the correct procedure and everything else, but I'm not sure whether this person who built these apartments, I'm not sure what procedure they followed. So if you're lucky enough, you will find that houses that have been done to the highest standard, they've been done by professionals and people who know what they're doing, and you'll never experience any problem. At the same time, like I have a recent case of someone who was actually really worried. They have already bought an apartment off plan in a very high-rise estate, and it's already, there are cracks all over, even in the beam, even like in the walls, you can see cracks everywhere. And these people, it's because it's not only her house, it's many other, it's almost like everyone in that particular building. So people are worried. Why? Because you don't know what the issue is. The developer keeps telling you, it's just normal. It's the vibration from, I don't know, the road. It's maybe because you guys are at the 5th floor, there's a lot of movement at the rooftop. So probably that's the reason. But you are not sure and you're worried. Because of course, someone who has maybe done shortcuts will not tell you that we did some shortcuts. So it comes with its own risks. But again, if it's affordable and there is I will give an example of the most rising, the rising, what do you call it? The Great Wall. Most people know about the Great Wall Gardens. It's just fast rising by the Edelman. And if someone wants to buy, for example, an apartment there, it's very easy to know if it's done with the correct standards, because there's already other phases that have been done, and there have not been big issues. But the problem comes in when it's you have nothing else to compare with. This is a new developer. You can't tell what if they've done any other thing and you're buying off plan. So I will call it a gamble at the same time. Really, it's a very tough one. It's a very tough one. Yeah.
Let's rope in Eric on this. I think having worked on the other side with developers, what's it like?
Okay. Well, Kate, thank you for sharing. And just before I say, someone asked whether if you're renting, should you rent forever? I just want to give them a scenario of what I've seen happen to clients. Like, there are clients who bought a property and then they changed jobs and they even moved out of the country. So what have they ended up doing? Renting their home, moving to another country or to another location nearer to their workplace. So you may decide not to buy a home just to live, but to have an investment that gives you passive income. And the passive income can come from rent, stock exchange, can come from many places. So that's what I'm talking about. There are times the nature of work and life may shift you from the place you thought would be your home and where you live forever. So you have to have an open mind. Otherwise, when you get a job, you might say, no, I don't want to move away from my home. And yet you have a really good job, you see. But let me come to the issue about off-plan. I've seen it all. Seen fake people come into the market and con people. I've had conversations with clients who they queued up somewhere only to realize they are queuing up to to buy nothing. Wow. Yeah. So off-plan was the in thing in the days because it was a way of the developer getting some financing for their projects. And it really was a boom until people started defaulting, people started doing shoddy jobs. Then it is left off-plan to the people who can deliver. Funny enough, the Chinese are delivering. They don't want, most of them, I don't know, Kate might attest to this, they are delivering. And there are those developers in the market that have a reputation of having completed projects. So for such people, you will go and look at the off-plan projects and then now decide whether to buy their next, the off-completed projects and decide whether to buy their next project. In regards to building, yes, Kate, I know for Kate to be easier for some, and she said some clients, they don't have the time. They're at work 8 to 5. So they don't want people calling them for mfuko ya simiti, lori ya mchanga, chuma. If you have that time, it'll be easier. Let me speak for myself. When my dad retired, it was easier for him to supervise his own projects. Why? He had the time. I mean, he could, from his biasharas, he could go back and forth from work to the projects and supervise them. And then again, he has an engineering background, so that really helped him. But for majority of the clients, the reason why they'll go for houses and they'll go for these off plans is because they really have no clue what it takes to build a house. And it's a lot of shillings at stake for them to risk in building their dream home. Once their home is their first home, might be their home forever. So there's that fear of making a mistake when buying the off plan or when building. So that fear is there. So they want to get it right. I don't know whether I've answered correctly. Kate, you could add in something just in case I've missed something else.
Yeah, I think you've both covered it. But if someone would need a clarification, they'll put it up. And just want to jump off that and ask Kate about what's actually needed when thinking about constructing at home, your own home. You've never done this, you don't have an engineering background, you want to construct your own home. What's the process like? Why should I go to Kate and not from Njoro, who will charge me cheaper? The person in that person everybody knows he's the one who's built these homes around here, houses around here. Why should I seek professional services instead of the cheaper person? What's the whole process like?
Okay. Let me first of all start by saying it's another misconception that seeking professional services is more expensive than just getting Joro, as described, to come and build. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. When I have a piece of land, now I'm ready to build. So what do? My friend just completed a house, or my sister. So I'm calling, hi, I need help. So they tell me, no, what you do now? I'll give my fundi. We spent 5 million for this house. Now go ahead and So first things first, we don't have a design. So my fundi will give me a design. So is this what I need? It's your dream home. So it means that this is somewhere you will live probably forever, like with your family. It's your retirement home. So do you want to copy paste what Winfred or someone else did on the other side? Do you want to copy paste that, or do you have an idea what exactly you need? So what I advise clients mostly, and sometimes I have clients who just want to advise them, not really to build for them, but to advise them. But I tell them the success to anything that you're starting begins with planning, proper planning. Because when you meet a client who is telling you, now I want us to start building, but let me first nimwage some materials, and nataka kumwaga mawe kokoto, then you're asking them, why do you want to buy materials? Are you even sure you want that? Because it's because of what you have had. So what we begin by is planning. And I don't know if you can allow me to share my screen. I just want to share something small about planning. I've done like 3 slides. Is it possible?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I think our tech team will make you a co-host shortly, and you can share.
Okay, I'll make it quicker. Yeah. So the first things planning. It's first things first is coming up with a design, and that is beginning with architectural design. So when you visit us, we send you to our architect who sits down with you, and you tell him your dream. What do you want? I need a bungalow. I need a 1-story building. I need a house, and then on the side I need a storage tank, or I need whatever you need. You sit down with the architect who will actualize your dream on a paper. At the same time, the architect has to visit the site, to visit your piece of land and get dimensions, because the danger of buying plans in the market, or I don't know where some people normally get them, you have a plan that's already done, is you are not sure whether it's customized to fit within your area. So it's important to get to know exactly what are the dimensions of the plot and what I need. My dream, will it fit within those within those dimensions? So the beauty with having an architectural design that is well thought out, it's, it will determine the functionality of your house and also the aesthetics. You need something that's looking good at the end of it all, because you're going to live there forever. So you can imagine having something that's an ISO. It's really not fun, but sometimes when you make bad decisions, you are forced to live with it. Then once you have done the architectural design, there's something else called structural design. I don't know if most of you are familiar with that, the structural design. Now, structure is the structure. Okay, most people will say, no, most people will tell you structure and your nyumba. Why? Because you may have a very beautiful house, but it has failed structurally. It failed structurally. You can't live there. Or we've seen buildings collapsing in Kenya and in many parts of the world, and it's a really good building. The mistake that people make again is someone will go to an architect, they have a good design, and then they bring it to their fundi. What does the fundi do? The fundi will design the structure by himself on the ground. And what do they rely on? They rely on, I built another house like this. I put chuma D10, or I used concrete strength of 20. So this is what I'm going to use here. Not knowing that every structure has, every building has a unique structure, depending on so many factors that the structural engineers normally look at. And that including but not limited to the soil type, the location. Because again, if I'm building near a highway or near a mine, the structure, the design will be totally different. When I'm near a highway, there are so many vibrations, and the engineer needs to consider that. So there are so many things that are considered for safety of the house, and to determine how you're going to do the foundation, the walling, the roofing, the beam. And nowadays, people are moving towards the modern design, the flat roof design, which is actually the structural design is very key when it comes to such types of houses. So after architectural and we have done structural design, there's another design that people normally overlook. We normally overlook, and it can be chaotic when you finish the house, and there are things that are missing because you never planned on ground. Remember, this is all planning. So electrical and mechanical design, and I want to imagine that all of us are aware of what all that entails. Maybe quickly, for electrical design, we normally, because we also have, personally, I'm an electrical engineer, so I do electrical designs, getting to know lighting points, the power points, also the cable sizes, the security system. This is where you have the fire alarm system, you have the burglar proof system, you have the CCTV points. So even if the client is not ready to install such things at the moment, it is important to provide provision for that, because in future, sometimes in future you realize I need something, but then the people who built did not put a provision for that. So it's normally a challenge. You begin hacking, start destroying walls and stuff to pass pipes and conduits, which is not good. So it's always good to have such a design so that to take care of future needs, and also in case there's a failure, because I've seen someone who there was an electrical failure in their house, and because they did not have a design, It's just a fundi who just came and fixed stuff. There was no drawing whatsoever. It took a long time to try and trace the person who installed the electricals, who did the electrical design, to trace the electrician. It took quite a long time. So the importance of having electrical, even mechanical designs, also to be able to trace. I mean, you can get any person to come and repair something that's broken, because there's a drawing that shows you this pipe is going like this, and this conduit is going like this. Then quickly for mechanical, I think we all understand it's and one thing we normally say in the construction, water is very unforgiving. You can finish a house, but there's no way to get water in all the in all the rooms, or it's just actually really a problem. Or even the drainage is a menace, and you keep bringing the plumber, and it's not working. So I've seen people suffering. You have done a house worth, I don't know, maybe 35 million, but you cannot seem to solve the water issue. So that's one of the things we advise people, the designs that we advise people to make sure that they have on paper before you begin. Then what's the importance of these designs? Once you have these designs, it helps you now to come up with a cost estimate. Another mistake I've seen with clients make is, you ask someone, how much did you spend? And they tell you like 5 million. Then you will know I'm set with 5 million. You begin the project. Then in the middle of the project, the money is depleted. And you're frustrated because you thought with this 5 million, I'm able to finish. But now with a good cost estimate, you are sure that I'm looking at this amount. It's better to know the truth than to know like I will need like 10 million, other than trying to run away from reality. So once you know you've known the cost estimate and all that from the QS, the next procedure we move on to, which is the last procedure before you begin construction, is the approvals. And I think those who have done construction, those who have their houses, know about all this. The county government, the public health, NEMA, the National Construction Authority, of which some of them are paid for, like this one. The National Construction Authority is free, is not paid for. It's just to ensure that you have uploaded all the approved drawings, and all the people working on your site are registered and are qualified people. And also, to make sure that everything is on point before heading to the site. So that is the planning bit. And once you've engaged the contractor. I want to stop sharing the screen. Just give me okay, stop share there. So once you've engaged the contractor or a professional who will be able to take you through all this, and you've come up with the bill of quantities and everything else, and you're ready to head to the site, it's up to the contractor now to plan herself, because there's also what we call preliminaries. You just don't go and start. You have to plan a little bit, where you need to have maybe a shed, or maybe the site board, temporary water, what you will use to to construct. But generally after that, mostly people we like working with milestones, because there are different types of clients. There's someone who has all the money to do all the work without stopping, but then there's someone who doesn't have all the money, and you can't discourage such a person. You need them to, this person wants to be taken pole. So one thing unique about our company, Pacetech, is that we're able to work with the clients depending on your ability, financial ability. So we began, and you're just able to do up to maybe excavation and a bit of the foundation strips, and then you will ask us, or give me a breather, so I look for money so that we can go up to the slab. We're able to do that. But for the people who have, maybe if you have all the money, maybe you have a mortgage or something like that, it is important to work in milestones. So the first milestone probably excavation up to the slab, so that you can also appreciate the small steps. Because if you're waiting to look at the bigger picture, you may give up in the middle. You can imagine waiting for months to to see the complete project. So I think I'll stop there and maybe expound on anything else that anyone asks. But generally, before building, planning is the thing. Plan, and before heading to the site, engage a professional. And just to answer on the getting to Njoroge, I think from what I've explained, you can already see why it's important to engage a professional. Also, a challenge I have seen with fundis and foremen is relying on experience. Experience is really good, but when you're building, this is a different house you're building. It's not what you built on the other side. It's important to follow what has been done, done by the engineer. And just to give an example, a friend of mine who is actually a good architect, it's one of the best in Nairobi. He drew a really good design, took it to the client. So you know that the client will now take it up with a contractor. So the client gave it to a fundi. So as they were calling him to go, and now the house is done, now come and check before now we do the sherehe to open. My guy gets there and it's a different house. It's like, this is not what I drew. So the fundi says, Mimi, I looked at the design and I understood and I put it aside. And Mimi nikajenga. So this person built something totally different. There were columns in the middle of the sitting room. There were so many things that were not functional. So they had to bring down quite a number of walls to try and, actually the reason the client called the architect is because some things are not working. And, he doesn't know now how to go back and tell him, we messed up. So you see, in the process of wanting to save, you end up spending more. And also in the process of, because what foremen mostly do, they will tell you, they will guide you, they'll act like your guide. Like, now we need muchanga, we need kokoto, we need this. Sometimes they'll ask you for 3 trucks of muchanga because they measure with eyes. I've just done a direct translation. Wanapima na macho, wanasema, so I think this one will need 3 lorries of sand. So you'll bring 3 lorries, then you will find that they've only spent 1.5 or maybe 2. So there's this one truck that you don't know where to take, and you have already spent money on that. On today is Wednesday. On Friday, a friend of mine called me and he's asking me, do you know somewhere we can sell chuma ya Y8, D8, we call it Y8, it's called D8. So I'm like, okay, what happened? They ordered a lot. So I thought a lot was maybe an extra 20 bars. Turns out this was an extra 3,000 bars of D8. And now the current cost of steel, it's just there. You don't know where to sell that. So personally, what I do and what we do is, when you're doing an estimate, there's what is guiding you, the design, the measurements, everything, you are guided by that. So it doesn't mean that you're perfect 100%, but it is very difficult to make such glaring mistakes. So I'll stop there. I've talked too much.
Thank you. And as you take a breather from that, there's someone who's raised a question about container housing, prefabs, and such other construction materials and ways. You can think on that. We'll get back to you. I want to bring in Eric on financing, actually, from whether it's buying a ready-made house, renting, buying an apartment or a house. What are some of the financing options that are available to us in Kenya?
Okay. The common one is a mortgage, although mortgage financing uptake in Kenya, I think we are just slightly above 26,000 thereabout mortgages in Kenya. And simply to answer someone who had raised a question there, because mortgage is expensive in Kenya. So there's mortgage, SACCOs, at least now SACCOs are being financed by Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company. And so the mortgages in SACCOs are lower than the banks at the moment. I don't think they're getting a lot of money, but yeah, SACCOs are much more affordable. And I think right now they're going to be, I mean, they are really giving the banks a great competition. The people who've raised finances from family, it's an option. On a changa, they help a brother, a sister. That happens. So if you have supportive family, that's okay. That's good. There is financing from there are these chamas that raise money, maybe to buy property like a plot. It works because it's just a way of saving. The way I look at it, because you're struggling to put aside 5,000 shillings every month, you enter into a chama, do a merry-go-round. Turn yako ikifika, you put the money into buying the property. So that it does work. It does work. So those are some of the main ones that are there in our market. There's also joint ventures where you come together, guys get equity from each other. Maybe they want to build some apartments, so you could finance it from your money. So because you might decide or realize that I can't do a whole apartment by myself, so you come together and put your money together, and everyone goes with a share of get a share of that project. So that's another way of raising money for building property. But for homes, it's limited, and most people will do cash, will save some money and either build. But as I said, many Kenyans don't have their own homes. I think it's about 23% homeowners, and most of them are in the urban areas. So that's why the government is trying to push for affordable housing in Kenya. And I think when Kate comes and speaks about prefabs and all, it's a concept that Kenyans are struggling to accept. Kenyans wanataka mawe, yet these other options are good. Yeah, so they're not bad. So that's one way. I mean, the Vision 2030 has a lot. It was really done well. If you've ever gone through that document on urbanization and housing, that plan, if it was executed, will be very far as a country. There are going to be industries that are going to provide affordable material for affordable housing. Legislations are going to be put in place that are going to help us. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. It's just not one thing that is required to make Kenyan homes in Kenya affordable. It's a combination of many things. So yeah. So but right now we just have to work with what we have, and we have to embrace new technologies and new ways of building houses. So that we can cut costs.
On that issue of money and costs, it's quite sad that you mentioned that in Kenya we have very few options for financing. Globally, what are some of the options that are there in other markets? What are we missing out on?
I think mortgages are the biggest letdown. You know, when people are doing 3%, Elvis, you remember my sister, they are doing mortgage of 3%. 3% in a foreign country. If you do mortgage at 14% here in Kenya, by the time you're done in 15 years, you'll have paid more than twice the amount you bought the property for. So unafanyia kazi bank. Sorry, I hope we don't have bankers here, but it's the truth. You can do your calculations on their websites and they'll give you the results. So I'm not trying to spoil their business, but that's a lot of money. So we have rent to own, but rent to own here, I've not seen anyone do rent to own that is really working well. Those are some of the options that I've seen out there, because rent to own requires that you be able to pay rent equivalent to, something that can offset the cost of the home. But our homes are expensive. When I was with Remax, I visited I interacted with a lot of real estate agents and broker owners. So for some of the conferences I went for, and they are really an eye-opener. And this is in the US. Some homes are I mean, the kind of homes, I mean, I would tell them about the prices in Nairobi and they'll be shocked at how much we pay for houses. And I just came to realize Kenya is not really affordable. Nairobi is not affordable at all. Yeah, so it's a reality. So people had, I mean, you hear of people have palatial homes and they're selling for some quite really good money. So mortgage is the main one. And there they get good financing from their mortgage companies. You know, here we go to the banks. Then out there, they have mortgage companies that get funds from different sources and give them affordable financing. So we had a mortgage company that closed down here in Kenya. We did have, but now we don't have any anymore. We don't have it anymore.
Fantastic. Thanks. That actually paints a really bad picture when it comes to us owning homes. But I think I saw something also online about how much house you get for what money, for example, in South Africa. And I was wondering, what is this that we get? Let's bring back Kate to talk about the container houses, prefabs, and of course the issue of cost. Do they bring down the cost? How does that affect home ownership in these other materials? Kate, are you still with us?
Sorry, I had muted myself. Okay.
No worries.
I'm saying that's a tough one, considering that we don't have much of that in Kenya. Well, I've seen maybe containers, people have embraced that mostly in businesses, in markets, stuff like that, but we have not yet embraced that in Kenya. As Eric has said, you know, we have been brought up to know that nyumba ni ya mawe, and you know, anything else is just not possible. But I think that it is something worth trying for people who have maybe traveled in some of the developing countries. You know, you don't find permanent houses. Some of them are made of wood, you know, and it works for them, because I think cost-wise I think it's cost effective, considering the building process to build a stone building. You can't compare with that. It's quite cost effective. Then also in terms of mobility, especially because Eric talked about sometimes you may have built your dream home in Ngong and then you moved to you moved to say Ruiru. So it's something to consider, because it's not a permanent thing. I also think that they're versatile, and they're also durable. The only drawback, I think, it's especially the roof. You have to add another protective layer for the roof, because the roofs are quite weak. And also in terms of the insulation, you know that if you've lived in a container, you know that you will have to add a layer of insulation again. And also it's not very safe, per se, compared to the other building, conventional way of building. It's not 100% safe. But I would advise, it's something worth selling to, it's an idea worth selling to our people here. It's something worth trying, because I think at the end of the day, the benefits may outweigh the disadvantages. I can't talk much about it because it's something I have not done. I like talking about things that I have done, and I'm sure of. I am sure of, what I have experienced. But it's something I can look more into.
Fantastic. Hopefully soon, once you become a member of Jabali, we can have a conversation about prefabs and other container houses once you've done your research. So Eric, we in this issue of, finally, as we are winding towards the close, I can see we're at the top of the hour. What are some of the things one should look for when say you're looking for a home and you found one that you really like? say, either it's to rent or you're buying, what are some qualities that make a good landlord and peaceful living?
Okay. I must say, let me talk about renting. That's a difficult question. I must say, because let me just use an analogy here. If maybe most of us have ever got into a relationship and only for that relationship not to end so well. And you thought you knew the person and you realize, no, I didn't know the person. At times it's like that with the landlord. You meet the first time, you think you found the perfect person until they start coming around to check the house every 2 weeks. So you need to have that instinct of being able to tell whether you've met the right landlord. If it's a management company, it's easier because you can get to hear. It's a terrible example, but I mean, it's the truth. If you've rented enough times, I'm speaking from experience. Elvis, you know what I'm talking about. And all I can say is, probably if it's a management company, then you're safer because they follow just rules and guidelines. And so some landlords don't know how to just be professional and follow some rules and guidelines. On the other hand, some can be very good and very lenient. In fact, I think some are taken advantage of. That's why they ended up giving their properties to management companies. So, and we've had such landlords who are like, hey, please help me manage this property because I'm struggling to collect rent, I'm struggling to manage tenants. So at times it's not the landlord issue, at times it's a tenant issue. And at times they don't have the time to address the issues that you're going through. For example, as the Kate said, if it's a flat and there are construction issues and they need to attend to them, they may not have the time. So they may need someone who is available to address those issues. But when it comes to buying a home, it's different. So buying a home, today, let me just share from trends so that you can pick for that and see what's best for you. We have many clients who prefer to buy something that has been in the market for some time, especially apartments. The reason being, it's been tested and tried. The alternative is to find out who did the projects. If it's Kate and the team, you can go for it. Because you know the quality of work. That's what I mean. But if the work, these guys don't have a track record, you need to be careful. So what I've seen some developers do, I've had a developer call me and tell me, here's a project just in Kilimani, and they've taken photos from construction. They show you the metal, the chumas, how they've done it, because they know they don't have a reputation in the market, but they want you to have confidence in what they're doing. So it's a real issue, Elvis, when it comes to buying homes. So this developer called me and like, hey, here look at the chuma I've used, look at how I've done the foundation, and that time the structure had not really gone up. So basically, they're just trying to make sure that they have a good reputation and we can have confidence in speaking to our clients. So it's that, or we don't have. I don't know about our standards, Kate, building standards, how much they're being enforced. But as you said, something like water, once the wall is covered, and it starts leaking, it's not like electrical wiring will go the other end, and PIMA from the other end tell there is a disconnection in between. Water is something totally different. So there are those things that you have to consider.
All right. So relationships with landlords are like any other that we are dealing with people. They are bound to be messy.
Yes.
Kate, as we wrap up, before we go to the Q&A, well, we have been answering some of the questions as we go along, so the Q&A will be short. Job was asking in the comment section whether bigger houses are actually better, if there's a better way to efficiently and effectively utilize spaces. And I want to ask, and other ways to discourage people from Kikuyu Gothic. Can we please have beautiful homes? So is there a way to be effectively and efficiently utilizing our space without getting very huge, grotesque things? Kate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just laughing about the Kikuyu Gothic architecture. And yeah, it's our architects, the architects normally have there are standards. Every room, there are standard dimensions that you are supposed to ensure that every room has met. For instance, if it's a toilet, it's not there are limitations. You can't go below a certain dimensions, both in length and width. Also, living rooms, whichever room. So it's a pity because most people do not follow that. Of course, if you go to a credible architect, they will ensure that the standards have been followed. Unless you are unless you are asking them to do something so big and your land is quite small, but whatever size of your land, they're supposed to be able to fit the structure that you need, making sure that they do not interfere with the dimensions. So it may be that your space is quite small, and so they think most of them advise you to do is to get rid maybe of some things, so that you are not living also in a squeezed place. So yes, Job, it's possible to make sure that the space has been utilized. Also, it's also not any advantageous to just do too many very big spaces of no use. Because your friends are probably I just want a big space. It's okay because you're the client and you want a big space. But if you can be advised, if it needs also to be efficient and cost effective, you strike a balance between efficiency and cost effective. Only that do not go below a certain, like what we've seen in those houses that have just been described, where you find it's actually very small. It's actually so small. I don't know if we have a photo of an example of such houses. Then I don't know what else you had asked. Okay. Just remind me, please.
I was asking about Kikuyu Gothic and why it's still there.
Common, eh?
Yes.
It's still there, but I think people are slowly moving away from that. I don't think I'm wrong on that. I think people are now slowly embracing the idea of doing things professionally. The reason I think they were very rampant is because I want to build a flat here. So I'm calling Njoroge again. Sorry if there's anyone called Njoroge here, but I'm calling Njoroge again, and I'm telling him I want a house like that. So what will Njoroge do? He'll give me exactly a house like that, with the yellow tiles, blue, green, just a mixture of everything. Because Njoroge is coming with his own expertise. He's coming with his own design. That is his taste. So the reason they're common is just because we like copying each other and we want nataka kama ya ule. But with time, as you've seen in those areas, Kiambu, we've seen some houses caving in, it's under construction and it just collapses. And I think people are now slowly embracing the idea of, let's go the professional way. But at the end of the day, I think we will manage to move out of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think also to add on, I was reading something, actually speaking to an architect about the same, and they were saying that sometimes it's other social amenities as well. You might want to have lovely sliding French doors in your home with floor to ceiling windows. And the architect will be like, in which Kenya? One stone and the thieves are going away with all your TV, even your taps, they will go away with them. So some things, as Eric was saying, it's more of supporting structures as well. If you have insecurity, you can't have French doors. You might need to get those tiny, they'll sell like windows that are very common. Eric, finally, the final question for you, I think, tonight from the chat before we open for people who want to unmute is, what are some of the benefits you've seen to owning in a gated community or in such enclosed communities vis-a-vis owning in your own space? I forget, I think it's Antoine who asked that.
Okay. Wow. I want to say, okay, fine. One, security. Gated communities have much better security because you control who's going in, who's going out. There's economies of scale. So you get to share a lot of things. You share the security itself, the guards, the CCTV, as opposed to just hiring your own. You hire a few for the whole community. Then you get to share some amenities. If it's a gym, playground, you get to share that. But I think there's one thing people also forget a lot that comes with gated community, and that's the family spirit. Something that we in Africa enjoy a lot and keeps us sane. A place to belong, a place you belong. I've seen people move to places like Karen with small kids, and those kids are lonely. They only look forward to go to school. Sorry if you've lived in such a place, but when I compare to my kids who are in a court where they just can go out and play and come back and I know they are safe, I mean, you can't trade that for anything. So someone the other day visited me on Friday. I just brought my guys from my office at home. We just had a small social event. So this person is new and they asked, you mean your kids can go outside the gate and it's safe? I mean, I'm like, which gate? The main gate or the gate just right here? So what I learned is that this person has lived in those half acres and you could never go outside your house gate. And I told them here, the kids do not go past the court gates. And the guards do not allow them, and they come and they call each other and they go and they have fun. They skate, they ride the bike. Those are values you can't, I mean, many people might not speak about very much, but they're very important. But yeah, generally gated communities present a lot of those benefits. If you want to do a road, if you want to pull together and dig a borehole, you can do it together. As opposed to doing it alone. I mean, there's a lot of benefit of doing gated community, but also disadvantages. You might have nosy neighbors, but that is life, you know. So how you pick your community is very important. There's a client who called me who I'm engaging to sell a property, and this is just in Kilimani, but the block of flats in that compound, I've never seen such a community in the whole of Kilimani. So, and they are really cooperative, and they just really cooperative, and things are working. Kabisa. So there are advantages and there's some few disadvantages of gated community, but the advantages outweigh the disadvantages.
Thanks, Eric. I have seen your question, Francis, on the issue of land, and land is a huge topic. I don't think we might have time to speak about that today, but I have noted it down for something we can have a more detailed discussion. When it comes to land, there's a lot that goes into it, and we might not have had enough time for it this session, but it's in our rota of things to do before the Rotary year ends. So we will be speaking about land, Francis. Worry not. Keep checking out. We'll have that. So at this point, I'd like to invite Eric just to give, before we open up for, no, I'll open up for questions. If there are any questions in the chat, I think I saw, a question. Jeff, we will get to that. I'll give them a brief moment to tell us how we can reach them. I was looking for Nelson. Yes, Nelson had a question to Eric O'Kate. They want a ballpark figure. They want to build a 4-bed, 4-bath in an urban area. An approximate figure, I'll give this to Kate. Through a figure, if you have one in the head. But yeah, nataka kama ile yenye ulijenga last time.
Okay, just roughly, I will imagine that's about 220 built area, square meters. So you normally multiply by 35,000 in this case, for a decent house with just decent finishes. 220 square meters by 35,000, it gives me about 7.7. But that highly depends on the type of finishes that you want. If you want elaborate finishes, it can go up to 60,000 per square meter. So if it's just a decent normal house, between 35,000 to 40, because also the cost of things has really gone high at the moment. But that is just the house, not the septic tank. Then because someone will come with that 7 million and they want septic tank, they want a storage tank, they want a perimeter wall. It's just the house. Yeah.
Thanks, Kate. The floor is open. Put up your hand if you have a question. We'll have a couple of minutes. I think I'll take about 4 questions if we have them in batches of 2. Yes, we have Joyce. Anyone else? Joyce, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the nice presentation. So my question, it goes, first thing you said, find a lot of arable land, especially around Kiambu, now has been turned to apartments and all that. So how do we balance out our urge to have ownership and also to maintain arable land, because we can't live without food? Then the other thing is, maybe a client comes to you and they say they want to start building a house and they don't have the full amount for it. So they either think because of the salary, they can be able to finish. So something happens, let's say they were depending on a salary and then they just get dismissed. How do you finish such a house? Maybe you had started foundation, but you're not able to continue. And then lastly, in as much as land is a highly contested area, it is very evident that nowadays people buy lands with the name of owning a house, and then later, because they didn't do their due diligence well, they are evicted. So how do you advise clients in such situations?
All right. I see there is no other question, so I think we'll close it at that. Kate, I'll give you the question on, you've started a house, you've reached a certain milestone, and you've been laid off. Now you can't continue. What do you do in such a case? Oh, go ahead, Eric. No, I was muted.
Okay, so we're supposed just to answer here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not sure that Kate got the question, but I think this is what I was saying. Maybe I didn't say it clearly, but you need to think of the future when you're planning to build a home or to buy a house on mortgage. We are not in the industrial age where we'll have a job for 15, 30 years. So your job will change, your income will change, things will change. So you need to keep that in mind. So if you've taken a loan to build a home, just know things may change midstream. So you don't want to get, let me lower my hand. You don't want to reach midway and get stuck. So plan with, just like Kate said, you need to factor in, you need to plan well enough and not just pick Anjoroge to help you with the plans, because you get stuck. Most people get stuck because they just thought it will cost them 7 million, kumbe it was 10 million. Others are just bold enough to say, I'll get money along the way, and then it doesn't come. COVID happened, an emergency came along. So all those things that will affect whether or not the finishing of your house. Yeah, so those are some of them. I feel like I've missed something, Elvis, from the question.
I actually feel like you've done it quite good justice.
Okay, thanks.
And before you mute yourself, I think Kate has been quite lucky. She's told us quite a bit about how to reach her and her business. So I'll give you this chance to plug yourself and tell us about LIKO and what you do and how we may contact you.
Okay. Okay, so as I said earlier on, I'm a registered real estate agent, and that's the first hat. I have another hat. It's called a broker owner. Basically, think of a brokerage, an insurance brokerage. So in my company, we have agents for different locations, or rather the agents prefer to specialize on locations, and we are recruiting them. And the agents are in a different kind of model in comparison to the traditional model in Kenya. They're independent, but exclusively work with us. So they're more of sales consultants. So they're not the kawaida agent you find out there, because they're trained, they're coached. I mentor them, and we have a team that supports them. So they really have good support. So it's basically a turnkey business. They have systems that guide them on how to do business. The third hat, and the third hat is, I've been building a franchise since 2020, and I've been building the systems, and we've just finished building the systems, and we're at a place now we are selling franchises. We've just begun, actually. So far we have 2 prospects who have shown interest in buying a franchise from LIKO. So as I said, I have many hats. It's just because they are tiers in my business. Okay, so and that's what you guys may be most interested in is a real estate part, I guess, where you need a real estate agent. That could be me. That could be anyone in my office, and all the many others who will come up from the franchises that we bought from LIKO. How do you reach me? I'll share our website. As Kate shares, I don't know, I'll share our website. I'll share my number. I think a phone call really works very well for something that you have in need. But we're on social media. From our website, you'll be able to trace us back to our social media and our phone numbers and all.
Fantastic.
Antoine?
I'm sorry, Eric, I think I cut you short.
Sorry, I'm saying, sorry, thank you for posting our website address.
Fantastic. As you share your phone number and other contact details, I will be inviting Antoine Marangu to move the vote of thanks.
Good evening, good night, family and friends of Rotary. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Eric and Kate for this enlightening session. At least for now, I know most of the members of this club and most of the friends, they're in that stage where they need to make that decision, whether they need to continue renting or whether they need to invest in their future home. So we would like to thank you for giving us that opportunity, and also to enlighten us that, as Eric said, it's not that bad to be doing renting for the rest of your life. But however, before we make a decision on whether to have that home in a gated community, whether to do it in your own farm. So there are all those factors to consider. It will actually help us to make that decision, because I believe most of us, if not 100% of us, we are still renting, but we have those prospects, as most of the members are saying, we need to buy a plot. I don't know whether we need to buy a plot in a gated community or whether we need to go further up country, that is in at the river and all those environments. I believe take home for this evening, for myself, and I know for most of the people, before we mwaga the stones, the kokoto, the sand, and we find ourselves that we have in excess of a lorry or 2 lorries, we need to also do it professionally, because most of us, maybe your parents will tell you, no, I know a foreman who did our home. We can get in touch with him and or her. And then you end up having a home, not what was your dream home. And then you end up getting into the market. So I'd like to say asanteni sana for that insight, and feel welcome at Jabali as a home. If you're not Rotarians, karibuni sana. We be part of this family. And maybe when we meet up face to face, we'll have more time to expound on this experience as we make that decision, whether we need to have a holiday home or a dream home. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. I will now yield back to the president.
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Eric and Kate, for many insights. I think right after Eric started speaking, that's when I realized he is a landlord to my sister. So Eric, we can negotiate rent for next month. Thank you very much for
SK, you sound a bit far.
Did he say I'm a landlord to his sister?
Yes, Christine is SK's sister.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. Thank you very much, Eric. I think we've had a very insightful evening, and yeah, there's so much to think about the future and how that shapes up. Asante sana, and as mentioned by both Elvis and Anthony, you're welcome to join our Rotary Club. I'm sure Elvis will do the pitching, and shortly you'll be joining us, hopefully. So kindly indulge us for. Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity as well. First, thank you.
Kindly be with us for 10 more minutes, our members and friends and guests. I'll do a round of announcements. They are on your screen. We meet virtually on Wednesdays, once in 2 weeks, where we have such conversations on different topics, finance, home ownership, and next month we'll be talking about surviving COVID and building a brand, building businesses. So we meet once in 2 weeks on a Wednesday evening from 7:45 to 9-ish. Why we say 9-ish is, yeah, such conversations get to about 9:30 and sometimes towards 10. However, in 2 weeks' time, 1st of June is a public holiday, so we'll not have a meeting on a public holiday. So our next meeting will be on 8th of June It will be a club assembly. For anyone who is not a Rotarian, that means an in-house keeping kind of meeting. But it's open to anyone who wants to join. Earlier, I mentioned our Rotary Club is information. That means we are taking steps towards being a fully fledged Rotary Club. And our charter party, we shall charter in July. So we'll apply for charter in July. So on Wednesday 8th, we shall be discussing whether we are ready and just checking a few boxes that I think we must check. And so you're welcome to join us on Wednesday 8th of June for a club assembly. If you want to join our Rotary Club, we will discuss a lot more on what it means to be a Rotarian and why we really are looking forward to be Rotarians. RotaryJabali currently has 39 members from different diverse professions. Question we get is our average age. We're between 24 and 40. So we are averaging at about 30. Yeah, so that's a brief of RotaryJabali. So we meet once in 2 weeks on a Wednesday evening, and we have socials on over the weekends every so often. And the next fellowship after that is 22nd of June. We already have a guest speaker for that, courtesy of Elvis again. Besides that, behind the scenes, a lot of things happen. You won't see them on our socials, but behind the scenes, a lot is happening. The main thing currently is planning for the charter party. Our charter party will be on Saturday, the 30th of July. You are hereby advised to block off both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday for the party, Sunday for the recovery. A committee of about 15 people is working on it, and the chair is Ben, and we'll be sharing updates every so often. We have locked a date, we have a theme, and I believe by next week we'll have a venue and cost thereof. So please join us, purpose to join us on the 30th of July for our charter party. And for all members, obviously you can't miss the charter, but before the charter, please attend the club assembly. We have a few in-house matters to iron out and also tick a few boxes. So with that said, I will welcome our Sergeant at Arms. I'm not sure if she's in a position to speak. Hey, Melissa, how are you and where are you?
Hi, SK. I'm doing good. Away from home, but yes, I'm able to speak.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm very happy because of today's fellowship by Eric and Kate. It's been a very insightful session. Also, thank you to Elvis for moderating the session, and also Antoine for the vote of thanks. So my role as the SA in this session is basically to be able to ask for happy dollars and sad dollars. So this session is where you're able to share some of the good things that have happened to you or things that are unfortunate, and you feel like you'd like to donate maybe $1 or $2 or as much as you can to the club. So the money we get from the happy dollars in the club is used to fund certain projects, and is also just put in the club kitty. So I'd like to welcome you to give happy dollars if you're happy about today's session or any other thing. And after that, we can do the sad dollars. I think I'll begin by giving $2 happy dollars because I'm very happy about the progress we've made with regards to planning the charter party. And hopefully, even as the weeks go by, we'll get a lot more clarity on the planning process and be able to have a successful charter party. So I welcome members who'd like to give happy dollars towards the same or any other thing that they're happy about this week. So you can just raise your hand. You can speak
Hi,
up.
Melissa.
Hi,
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hapa niko na happy dollar
Okay.
for the good talk. The dreams of either owning a smart house or building a dream home has been imeguzwa, and I'm happy. And I'm happy that I attended the DCA and it was fantastic. So $2 happy.
Okay, thank you, Terer. $2 happy from Terer. Thank you, thank you. So in case you have any happy dollars you'd like to give, you can also write it on the chat section. I'll just read it out, or you can speak up. Francis has a very interesting comment. Francis, any happy dollars on that note?
Oh, Melissa. Good evening, family and friends of Rotary. So, Mutia, please don't laugh. This one is serious. I don't know what Terrell has done today, but it is well. I'm happy because of today's meeting. The two guests has been amazing, great insight. I'm also happy for everyone who has joined our club today during our today's meeting. And then also happy that today at least Melissa is present to be able to collect the happies and the sad. She knows how to ambush people as well. So I'm going to give $5 happy for that.
Thank you, Francis. I'm seeing a comment on the comment section where Grace is asking if visitors can give happy dollars. Yes, Grace, you're welcome. It's open to everyone. Yes, it's very voluntary and open to everyone. I'm seeing Valentine is giving $2 happy for the great session and great moderation. Thank you very much, Valentine. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Terer. Antoine is saying a happy dollar for the session and the clarity on home ownership. A happy dollar for knowing it's not a bad thing being a tenant, bora you have plans. A sad one that I'm still not a community. What? A sad one for that I'm still not a community kind of home ownership. Okay. So those are two happy dollars and one sad dollar from Antoine. Thank you very much. Anyone else? So if you'd also like to give sad dollars in case there's anything that didn't make you happy this week. Oh, Mutie, you're raising your hand, sorry. Karibu, Mutie. Mutie, then we'll go to Kennedy.
Thank you, Melissa. I would like to give 5 happies. So one is for Kate and Derek. I think a very wonderful presentation and insights into home ownership. Secondly, it's because the start of the week wasn't feeling quite well, but right now I'm feeling quite well. 3 is for the progress that you've made for the charter. 4th, I think it's for wonderful presentation that Gaia gave yesterday, the Rotary Club of Nairobi, Thika Road. And lastly, I think very good moderation from Elvis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mutie. We are glad you're doing well right now. We are happy for your recovery. Thank you for the happy dollars and the sad dollars also. Next up is Kennedy, then Kennedy Gaia. Kennedy M, then Kennedy Gaia.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. So I'm giving 5 happy dollars. The first 2 are for the guests today and the good talk they have given us, and also to Elvis for organizing and moderating excellently. I think the other 3 happy dollars are for, especially for Kate, for coming through. I think I've known her for some time, and I think she came along with a number of guests, some of who I could recognize from their names. So thanks for coming to share with our club and for bringing guests to our meeting.
Thank you so much for that, Kennedy. And yeah, we had a huge number of guests today, and we're very grateful for that. Thank you, Kennedy. Next is Kennedy Gaya.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And I believe it's your birthday week. If it's not recently your birthday, so happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. So that is my first happy dollar. My second happy dollar is to the good gentleman that we were with yesterday. I think Mutia, we agreed that our members dress as jokers over the weekend, and during the week they dress so seriously you may think that they own they own very serious things outside here. So just to enjoy ourselves yesterday, and certainly a conversation we need to have, especially where we are at as an age bracket. And I'm very appreciative of Eric and Kate for making our evening blossom, and more importantly, giving us a reason to smile and ponder over thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you very much for that. In the chat section, I can see Eva is giving a happy dollar for being here tonight. Thank you so much, Eva. Gadua is saying 2 happy dollars, one for today's fellowship and another one in anticipation of our charter party. Yay. Thank you very much, Gadua. Francis is laughing. I don't know what is funny. Share the joke with the happy dollar. So I hope I'm not leaving anyone else out. In case you'd like to give a happy dollar, even as we end the meeting, just the chat section. And thank you very much in advance. So without further ado, I'd like to give it back to the President SK. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I think there's one more from Ben. Ben, you can go ahead.
Yeah, 2 happies. One for the great presentation. The second one is to welcome all members and non-members to our amazing charter party.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Anyone else? Vicky, you are unmuted. You want to say something? Okay, she got lost. Terrell, you want to add something?
No, I'm good. But speak on my behalf.
All right. I think we have a special.
I think Terrell wants to add us money.
Yes, Terrell, we have a fine for you if you don't want to be happy. And for all those who are in Diani. So we
I already opened the floor. I gave my happy dollars. My second happy dollar was for the guys in Diani, that they had fun, and yeah, they burnt, which stays in Mombasa, and it's fine. Yeah, back.
Okay.
Yes, Francis.
I think I need to add 2 happy dollars so that Terrell can share his experience, because we have been waiting for something, and he knows.
Even before Terrell shares that, I know he'll say he wants what happens in Diani stays in Diani, but we have fines for all those who are in Diani but never sent a group photo for RotaryJabali. So let's start with Kennedy Gaya, Victoria Gaya, Terrell Emmanuel, Mercy Ngala, Job Odeko. All those were in Diani, but I think they were all in different venues, so they never managed to meet as a group. So whatever was happening in Diani, we are not sure, but it was the district conference and assembly officially. But I think Terrell, being the first, only appeared for the first day. So a fine to all the Diani people, Terrell, Vicky, Kennedy, Mercy, and Job. Job already left, but I think they had fun. The lesser the photos, the more the fun there was. Kennedy?
SK, we attended DCA in different time zones.
But at the same location.
Yes, some of us were present for DCA during morning hours. Some of us were present in the afternoon, and then Terrell and Co were only seen at night.
Terrell, is that the truth? Vicky, there's no photo. There was no photo taken for RotaryJabali.
There's a professional photo coming up. Just wait.
Please do not crop one right now.
I want to confirm that I attended the DCA during the morning hours, during the afternoon hours, and during the night hours. I was an active member, so we need to find those who attended during the day one.
All right, thank you all for representing us in Diani at the DCA. The district conference is an event that covers our Rotary district, that is Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and happens every year. So the district is an administrative unit of Rotary, and our district covers the 3 countries. Also covers Ethiopia, but there's no active Rotary club in Ethiopia. So the DCA happens once every year.
Eritrea.
Yeah, Eritrea. Yeah, there's no active Rotary club in Eritrea. So we have Kenya, Ethiopia, and South Sudan as the active countries in our district, with about 138 Rotary clubs and have about 125 Rotaract clubs. So the DCA brings together almost 1,000 Rotarians and Rotaractors in one town for about 4-5 days. So the just ended Rotary District Conference was in Diani from 12th to 15th of May. That was last week. And next year, the District Conference and Assembly is headed to Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So it's an event that is open to all Rotarians, all Rotaractors, and even guests and friends of Rotary. So starting very soon, you'll see adverts of the District Conference and Assembly. It shall happen in Addis, so we hope to take some of our members to enjoy a road trip or a flight to Addis. A road trip is bad memories for some people here. So we hope to have some of us headed to Addis next year from the 11th to the 14th of May. So Antoine, our Director of International Service, will take the lead on that, and you'll see quite a bit of promo of the District Conference and Assembly in Addis Ababa next year. So this year we had 5 people in Diani from RotaryJabali, and I hope next year we can be many of us in Addis. And by that time we'll be a fully fledged Rotary Club, and we can even make more noise and share no photos. And with that, I thank you all for joining us this evening. If it's your first time to join RotaryJabali, Asante Sana. We look forward to hosting you over many more meetings and physical activities. You'll be getting an email from our customer service team with a link to this recording. And if you wish to be part of us, feel free to leave your contact on the link that Vicky has shared, and some of our customer service team members will reach out to you. Santeni Sana, and let's give a toast to Rotary International. So if you are having a favorite midweek drink, hopefully water or tea, and nothing alcoholic on a Wednesday, I hope. That would be me. Or you may put your right arm across your chest and give a toast to Rotary International.
To Rotary and Rotary International.
Thank you, everyone. Our DJ and our host is
Sam.
Yes, Sarah.
To all the members here, we have our